Most of you live life backward. You look at the physical world, see a problem, and try to change the problem by manipulating matter. This is as useless as trying to comb the hair of your reflection in a mirror. The mirror has no will of its own. It doesn't create, it only shows. The world around you, your finances, your relationships, your health, is not the cause of your life. It is the effect. It is a delayed report of what you felt and assumed days, months, or years ago. The visible world is an echo. When you argue with an echo, you only perpetuate the noise. What is vibration? Forget mystical definitions. Vibration is simply your consent to the truth of something. It's not what you say you want. It's what you, in the silence of your being, consent to be true about yourself. The universe is deaf to your words and blind to your tears. It responds only to one thing: your identity. If you vibrate at the frequency of need, the universe can only give you more need. It is the law, no judgments. If you vibrate at the frequency of possession, the universe moves mountains to bring it to you. Therefore, the introduction to the 3-minute protocol is a cold, calculated decision to ignore the mirror. It is the arrogant and necessary understanding that physical reality is fluid, moldable, and submissive. You are not about to try to change something. You are about to enter the command room and rewrite the code. You will stop being the victim of what you see, to become the author of what will be seen. This is the posture. Without it, the 3 minutes are useless. With it, they are nuclear. In the first minute, you must perform an act of silent yet absolute rebellion against the tyranny of your senses. Understand once and for all that the world around you, this seemingly solid structure you call reality, is nothing more than a persistent illusion, sustained solely by the daily nourishment of your attention. As long as your eyes are fixed on current circumstances and your ears are attuned to the noises of lack and limitation, you will remain chained to a wheel of repetition, eternally recreating the same miserable day in different guises. Therefore, in this first minute, your primary and non-negotiable task is to cut the sensory cables that bind you to this version of yourself that you claim to detest, but secretly feed. It is a radical and surgical disconnection. This is not about gentle relaxation or a calming meditation. It is about a deliberate death of the old self so that the new can emerge. You cannot build a palace where a crumbling shack already stands without first demolishing the old structure. Similarly, you cannot plant the seed of wealth or love in soil infested with the weeds of your current perception of scarcity. Most people fail miserably at this initial point because they insist on dragging their problems into the silence. They close their physical eyes, but keep the eyes of their mind wide open to the empty bank account. They sit their body in the armchair, but their consciousness continues to carry the weight of arguments, pains, and injustices suffered. This is useless and insults the law itself. For the vibration to rise, you first need to create a total vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum and rushes to fill it, but you must be the sovereign who dictates what this space will be filled with, and for that, the space must be clean. The first minute is entirely dedicated to generating this sacred area of non-existence. You must have the courage to become nobody. You must forget your name, your age, your address, your history of failures, your diplomas, and even your hopes, for hope implies that something is missing. You must reduce your consciousness to a single focal point of pure existence, without attributes, without adjectives, without past definitions. The physical world, sensing it is losing its energy source, you will try to scream louder. Your body will itch. A jarring noise in the street will bother you. A painful memory will try to invade your mind like a thief. Understand this as the final resistance of the old vibration, fighting to survive. Do not fight it, for fighting is a form of attention. Simply withdraw your focus. Attention is the lifeblood. If you withdraw attention from a problem, it begins to wither and die instantly in the world of causes. Be ruthless and cold. Treat the physical world as if it did not exist, as if it were fleeting smoke. Consider the evidence of your senses as well-crafted frauds. What you touch now is merely the materialized past. If you touch a table and say, "This is real," you are anchored in what has already been manifested, and is, therefore, dead. The Creator operates in the unknown, in the invisible, in what has no form yet. In this minute of disconnection, vividly imagine that you are unplugging the device of your life from the main outlet. The power ceases. The The screen goes blank. Everything turns black. This darkness is not frightening and should not be feared. It is the primordial womb of creation, the clay before it is touched by the potter. You need to learn to love this silence and this profound darkness, because it is only there that you are truly free from the currents of human logic. There, in that fertile void, you are not the subordinate employee, nor the worried husband, nor the person with the medical diagnosis. There you are merely pure consciousness and infinite potential, ready to assume any form you desire. It is a necessary and divine arrogance to ignore the facts. Facts are for the weak of imagination, for those who accept life as an imposed destiny. For the master, facts are temporary and fluid. Breathe deeply and, as you exhale, feel that you are letting go of the entire world, letting it fall into a bottomless abyss. Do not worry about it. Reality will reorganize itself later. Now, in these 60 seconds, your only obligation is to disappear into the world of men so that you can appear in the world of cause. Feel the lightness of being nothing, for only when you are nothing are you ready to become everything. In the second minute, having obliterated the world of the senses and created the necessary silence, you must now, with the precision of a surgeon and the authority of a creator, fill that void with the specific reality you wish to experience. Do not make the fatal mistake of thinking about what you want, for thinking about the object is to confess that you are separate from it, and separation is the very definition of lack. You must think from the fulfilled desire. You must occupy the center of your image, not watch it as a passive spectator in a mental movie theater, for the spectator is always distant from the action. Your task in this minute is to step onto the screen, put on the protagonist's skin, and experience the scene in the first person, here and now. Imagination is not a wisp of smoke or a daydream to escape boredom. It is the true, substantial reality, and the physical world is only the delayed reflection of what you do in this exact moment of silence. If you want to be in a new job, do not visualize yourself walking to the building. Instead, sit in the chair of your new office, feel the texture of the wooden desk under your fingers, smell the air conditioning or the coffee, hear the sound of telephones. Draw the distant reality closer until it is here. The secret of this second minute lies in sensory restriction and repetition. Do not try to construct a long, complex film, for your undisciplined mind will get lost in the details, and you will end up falling asleep or thinking about dinner. Choose a single, short action that implies the fulfillment of your desire. It could be a firm handshake from someone congratulating you on your success. It could be the act of turning the key in the door of your new home, or it could simply be touching a ring on your finger. What matters is not the duration of the scene, but the sensory vividness you lend to it. The Bible says to bring all the senses into the temple. Use touch, for touch is the seal of reality. When you touch something in your imagination and feel its solidity, you are anchoring that vibration into your system. If your mind wanders, and it will wander like a spoiled child, do not criticize yourself and do not give up. Simply bring it back to the chosen action and repeat the scene again and again until it takes on the hue of reality. You must do this until you feel that it is more real to be there, in your imagination, than to be sitting in the chair where your physical body rests. You must have the audacity to bring the future into the present and the distant into the near. If your desire involves being in Paris but your body is in Brazil, in this second minute you do not think about Paris, you think from Paris. You feel the ground of Paris. You look at the world with Parisian eyes. The vibration only changes when identity changes. As long as you are the one who wants, you will continue wanting. The moment you enter the scene and perform it, you become the one who has. It is a subtle change, but it is the difference between the beggar and the king. Do not try to see your face in the scene. If you see your face, you are on the outside. You must see the world through your own eyes. If you are holding a check, see your own hands holding the paper. See the digits written. Feel the natural gratitude that would arise if this were a physical fact now. Do not force the emotion. Emotion is a consequence of the scene's naturalness. If it were true now, you would not be screaming hysterically. You would be feeling solid contentment, a quiet certainty. It is this naturalness that you must capture and sustain as you repeat the imaginary action. This is God's work within you. It is the subjective appropriation of the objective. Leave no room for doubt to enter. If the thought, "this is a lie," arises, intensify the scene. Make the smell stronger, the touch rougher, the sound sharper. Deceive your inner senses until they accept imagination as the only existing fact. Remember, there is no fiction. What you intensely live in imagination in this minute is being written into the fabric of the universe and must, inevitably, project onto the screen of space for all to see. But for now, in this sacred minute, it is a secret between you and your own being. Live it, touch it, be it. Do not wait for tomorrow. The name of God is I am, not I will be. Therefore, assume that you are now what you wish to be, and let this assumption harden into fact through the focused repetition of this single, implying scene. In the third minute, you cease all creative effort and enter a state of saturation and absolute surrender. If the second minute was the act of planting the seed through focused imaginary action, this third minute is the moment to cover the seed with earth and turn your back, fully trusting that nature will do the rest. The most common mistake I see in aspirants is the inability to let go. They continue visualizing frantically, fearing that if they stop, reality will collapse. Understand that creation ends when the feeling of reality is achieved. Therefore, in this final minute, you must stop repeating the scene. Let the image dissolve into the darkness of your mind, but, and this is vital, retain the scent of your accomplishment. You do not let go of the desire. You let go of the tension of the desire. You exchange the anxiety of the search for the satisfaction of finding. The highest vibration you can achieve is not an electric euphoria or hysterical joy, which are unstable and tiring. The supreme vibration of manifestation is profound relief. Relief is the only feeling the subconscious cannot resist or argue against. You can feign joy, you can feign surprise, but you cannot feign genuine relief. Relief is the psychophysical signature that a burden has been removed, a battle won, a contract signed. In this third minute, your job is to breathe in this relief. Do it physically. Inhale deeply through your nose, filling your lungs with the certainty of your new state, and exhale slowly through your mouth, releasing all the air and with it, all doubt, all urgency, and all the anguish of how or when this will happen. Feel your shoulders drop. Feel the muscles of your face relax. This relaxation is not apathy. It is the arrogant and silent confidence of one who knows the game is over and you have won. Say to yourself in silence, without words, just with the feeling, "Ah, finally, it is done. It is over." Many of you are afraid to feel relief before the physical fact, thinking you are deceiving yourselves. You are addicted to worry, treating it as a badge of honor or proof of responsibility. But I tell you that worry is the prayer for the unwanted. If you want to raise your vibration, you must have the courage to feel the peace of the final outcome before the world gives you permission to do so. In this minute, you should feel as secure as you would if the money had already been in the account for a week, or if the medical diagnosis had already been reversed and forgotten. It is a mundane, everyday peace. Naturalness is the secret. If it were true now, you would not be thinking about it obsessively. You would be thinking about what to have for dinner because the problem would be solved. Try to capture that lightness of case closed. Let this feeling of completion saturate every cell of your body. You are imbuing your subconscious with the fertility of the accomplished fact. Do not allow any intrusive what-if thoughts to enter this sanctuary. If doubt knocks at the door, do not fight. Just breathe deeply again and return to relief. Remember, the physical world is slow and heavy. It takes time to maneuver its pieces, but the command has already been given. You are the captain of the ship. You gave the order in the engine room, your imagination. And now you can go up to the deck and rest, knowing that the ship is changing course, even if the horizon still looks the same. Remain in this bath of silent satisfaction. Savor gratitude. Not the gratitude of one who begs for a favor, but the gratitude of one who has received and already possesses. Thank you is the best prayer, but not spoken to an external being in the clouds, rather felt as an internal confirmation of reality. At the end of this third minute, you should not leave the exercise with a feeling of, "I hope it works." You should leave with a feeling of, "Now it's just a matter of time." You should feel different from when you sat down. Something should have changed in your internal chemistry. If you still feel the weight of need, you haven't done the work. Go back and do it again. But if you feel a solid stillness, a kind of fertile vacuum where anxiety once was, then the work is done. The vibration has been raised and fixed. Now the only thing left to do is open your eyes and walk through the world without looking back, without checking for signs, keeping that scent of relief as your inviolable secret. What you have just done in the secret of your silence, the world will soon shout from the rooftops. Now open your eyes, listen to me, and listen well. The exercise is over, but immunity begins now. You are not the same person who sat in that chair 3 minutes ago. In that silence, you impregnated the atmosphere with a new cause, and the law of life is irrevocable. Every cause has its effect. The seed has been planted in the fertile soil of your consciousness, and it must be born. The biggest mistake you can make from this second onward is to look out into the world for a sign that it worked. Stop that. If you look for a sign, you are confirming that you don't have it. One who has does not seek. One who has enjoys. You don't check every 5 minutes if your house keys are in your pocket. You know they are there and you go about your life. Have the same quiet arrogance with your desire. The physical world is slow, it is heavy. It will take some time to rearrange the pieces and present the scenario you created. In that interval, be it hours, days, or weeks, your only obligation is to remain loyal to what you saw and felt in minutes 2 and 3. If the world shows you otherwise, shrug your shoulders. Say internally, I remember when that was true, but now I know who I am. Do not argue with dead reality. Simply walk with the posture, tone of voice, and serenity of one who already possesses. You have commanded. The universe has no free will. It only has the obligation to reflect what you are. Therefore, rise and go live, not as someone who awaits a miracle, but as someone who has just created one. It is done. If you are tired of stumbling in the dark and want the complete map on how to deepen this mastery and govern your reality flawlessly, I have prepared the way for the serious ones. The link is in the pinned comment. Do not ignore it. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you isn't common advice. It's a key. If you hold this key for just 2 minutes, something will begin to shift in your life in a way that the logical mind cannot explain. Money will appear as if from nowhere. But make no mistake, this isn't about tricks, cheap magic, or stage illusions. I'm talking about the oldest, firmest, and most relentless law there is. Everything you see in the external world is merely a reflection of what you hold within yourself. The world out there is like a delayed mirror. It creates nothing. It merely returns the image you silently project. Your bank account, your debts, your limitations. All of these are just the echo of past states you accepted and nurtured. But just as a shadow changes when you shift the light's position, your entire reality begins to change when you dare to alter the state you inhabit within. The mistake most people make is to beg for external signs, to wait for something to happen first before they believe. That is the prison of illusion. If you wish to see money flow, you cannot kneel before appearances. You must assume, even without proof, that you are already supplied, already rich, already abundant. Because the law doesn't respond to what you ask for in desperation, but to what you accept with conviction. That's why I tell you, there's no need for more years of blind effort, of directionless striving. 2 minutes of focused awareness, of firmly sustained imagination, can move more wealth into your life than decades of struggle. It's not sweat that opens doors, but the state you carry in the silence of your heart. And if you dare to apply what I'm about to reveal, your financial reality will be forced to bend before the new state you decide to assume. Nothing you see outside happens by chance. Every detail of your financial life, every opportunity that has come to you, every difficulty that still seems to persist, all of this has an invisible root. This root isn't in the market, it isn't in the economy, it isn't in the salary you receive, nor in the government that governs the country. The root is within you. The inner state you assume, consciously or unconsciously, is the true creator of everything that appears on the stage of your existence. The mistake almost everyone makes is to think that things happen in the world first, and then they feel a certain way. They wait for money to arrive to then feel prosperous. They wait for the bill to be paid to then feel relieved. They wait for a door to open to then feel confident. But this order is the great trap. If you wait for the external to change before you change internally, you will spend your entire life stuck in the same cycle, because the reflection never moves before the image. Imagine a mirror. You stand before it and raise your right hand. The reflection obeys. Now try asking the reflection to raise its hand first so that you can then raise yours. No matter how long you wait, this will never happen. The external world works exactly like this. It is the mirror of what you assume to be true within yourself. If you insist on looking at lack and convincing yourself that you are poor, limited, that you cannot succeed, the reflection has no choice but to confirm this image. But if, even in the face of all contrary appearances, you dare to silently affirm, "I am abundance, I am wealth, I am supplied," then the reflection must bow before this new identity. It is at this point that many fail because they still believe that reality has power over them. They look at their empty pockets and say, "How can I believe I am prosperous if I have nothing?" But it is precisely there that the law demands courage. It's not when things are easy that you prove who you are, but when everything seems to deny what you've decided to assume. True faith doesn't wait for proof. Faith creates the proof. You might be in a simple room with nothing of value around, but if within yourself you begin to move as someone who possesses, if you start to carry the demeanor, the feeling, and the confidence of a rich person, this state will become the invisible route that will attract the appropriate conditions to you. This isn't about pretending or deceiving yourself. Pretending is superficial and quickly breaks down in the face of difficulties. It's about inhabiting a state so deeply that the world has no option but to obey. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to tell others what you're doing. You don't need to justify yourself. Everything happens in silence, within. It's like planting a seed. You don't need to show everyone that you put the seed in the soil. Just water it, nourish it, and wait for harvest time. The inner state works exactly like this. Therefore, if today you want to see money appear as if from nowhere, start by changing the image you hold in your heart. Close your eyes and see yourself as someone who already possesses. It doesn't matter what your bank statement says. It doesn't matter what your debt is. It doesn't matter what appearances suggest. What matters is what you now accept as true. If you accept lack, lack will continue. If you accept abundance, abundance will begin to move. It is inevitable. The reflection cannot resist the image you project with conviction. I tell you firmly, the world does not have the power to decide your life. It merely obeys. And if until today you have lived in scarcity, know that this was not punishment, but a consequence of states you accepted without realizing it. Now that you know, the choice is in your hands. Continue accepting what you see and you will repeat the past, or dare to assume within yourself what you wish to see, and you will make the future bow. Everything begins in the invisible. Everything is born within. The inner state is the cause and the world merely the effect. And when you understand this deeply, you will discover that you will never again need to chase money, because it will come to you as a shadow follows the body of one who has decided to walk in the light. 2 minutes of disciplined imagination have more power than years of unconscious effort. Most people spend their entire lives wearing themselves out, running from one place to another, believing that only through sweat and struggle can something change. They work endless hours, sacrifice body and mind, but remain trapped in the same cycle of limitations because they never understood that the true key isn't in what they do, but in the state they place themselves in. It's like rowing against the current. The more force they apply, the more exhausted they become, yet they remain almost in the same place. What they don't realize is that simply changing their inner direction would cause the current itself to start working in their favor. When you dedicate 2 minutes of full attention, 2 minutes of conscious imagination, something moves in dimensions that eyes cannot see. These 2 minutes have the capacity to reprogram your consciousness more deeply than years of physical effort. Because everything you see out there is merely a consequence, while imagination is the cause itself. It is in this brief instant of concentration that you plant the seed that will inevitably sprout in the field of life. Try it now. Close your eyes and don't just think about money, but feel it as if it's already in your hands. See yourself paying your bills with ease, buying without fear, helping those in need. Mentally hear the rustle of banknotes, the click of a pen signing a check, the sound of a cash register drawer opening. Allow these scenes to be so vivid that you almost come to believe they have already happened. If you sustain this experience for just 2 minutes without doubt, without distraction, the external world will begin to organize itself so that this becomes real. The common mistake is to believe that imagination is a waste of time, while physical action is what solves problems. But the truth is that every action first originates from an inner image. If you change the image, you change the quality of your actions. You change the opportunities that arise. You even change the people who cross your path. 2 minutes of focused imagination change the vibration of your being, and this change inevitably attracts new circumstances. Remember, it's not necessary to spend hours in deep meditation or complicated rituals. The law does not demand this. 2 minutes of real concentration done with feeling are worth more than entire days of distraction. And when these 2 minutes become part of your routine, life begins to yield. It's like turning a key in a lock. It's not the force with which you push the door that matters, but the simple act of turning the right key. These 2 minutes are the key. Therefore, do not underestimate the power of a little time invested in what is essential. In just 2 minutes, you can set in motion invisible forces that will radically transform your financial life. While the world rushes in desperation, you, in silence, can achieve what seems impossible. The secret is not in running faster, but in learning to stop, close your eyes, and command reality from the invisible source. What you create in 2 minutes of conviction becomes more solid and inevitable than years of unconscious effort. When you look at the visible world and see accumulated bills, seemingly endless debts, opportunities that don't appear, and doors that close, what you're really seeing isn't reality itself, but merely the reflection of old states you accepted. The world creates nothing, it merely reflects. It has no life of its own, no independent power. It is like a delayed mirror that returns the image you project internally, but always with a slight delay. What you experience today is merely the result of what you assumed yesterday, what you sustained over the past days, months, or years. That is why fighting against circumstances is useless. If you get angry about debts, despair in the face of scarcity, surrender to fear because you see no way out, you are merely reinforcing the image that feeds the reflection. The more energy you give to the problem, the more you crystallize that inner state, and the more the world needs to confirm what you've accepted as truth. The solution is never to fight with the reflection, but to change the image. You don't break a mirror trying to erase the shadow, you change your form before the light. Everything that appears before you is like the harvest of an invisible sowing. It's no use complaining about what has sprouted, nor forcibly tearing off the fruit. The only way is to plant new seeds and wait the natural time for them to manifest, and the seeds are the states you assume. If you plant poverty by declaring yourself lacking, by feeling limited, by mentally repeating "I can't," don't expect to harvest wealth. But if you begin to plant, even in silence, internal affirmations like "I am supplied," "I am abundance," "I am prosperity," this new seed will begin to manifest even if circumstances say otherwise. It is here that many fail because they believe the visible world is the cause. They see a negative bank statement and say, "My life is like this because my balance is in the red." They don't realize it's the opposite. The balance is in the red because they accepted the state of lack beforehand. The world merely obeyed. It's like a shadow cast on the ground. If you want the shadow to move, it's no use pushing it with your hands. You must move your body, and then the shadow, without resistance, will change too. This is the law. The world has no power of its own. It merely reflects your inner identity. If you change from within, the reflection changes inevitably. The problem is that most people try to reverse the order, desperately rushing to force circumstances to change first, and get frustrated when nothing happens. They don't realize they're just fighting with a mirror. It's like asking the reflection to smile before you do. The reflection has no initiative. It can only return what is shown to it. Therefore, when you look outside and don't like what you see, don't despair. Remember, that is not a sentence. It is not definitive. It is not destiny. It is merely a delayed reflection. If you wish to change tomorrow, begin now to assume within yourself the state of what you wish to experience. Sustain it, even if nothing outside confirms it. The reflection may take a little time, but it will come. And when it comes, it will seem as if money appeared out of nowhere, that opportunity fell from the sky, that a miracle happened suddenly. But it wasn't sudden. It was simply the inevitable response of the image you silently projected. Persistence is the most difficult part, and at the same time the most decisive. Because it's not enough to start, it's not enough to imagine once and then give up when the world insists on showing the opposite. The true power lies in persisting. It's easy to get excited for a few minutes, to feel rich amidst a visualization, but when the bill is due, when the bill collector knocks on the door, when reality screams in your face, many immediately abandon the assumed state and return to despair. It is at that instant that most lose the harvest. Doubt is the greatest thief of manifestation. It arrives disguised as logic, whispers that you are deceiving yourself, that it makes no sense to imagine prosperity with empty pockets, that you are wasting time. But doubt is nothing more than a test, a shadow cast to see if you truly believe in what you have assumed. If you yield, if you abandon the state, everything regresses. But if you persist, if you continue to carry the feeling of wealth even when the external denies it, then the invisible bows. The courage to persist is not passive. It's not lifeless waiting. It is an active stance. It is repeating at every moment. It is already mine. I am already supplied. I am already abundant. It is walking with confidence even if you don't see the complete path. It is sustaining within yourself the certainty that the reflection will inevitably change, because the reflection has no will of its own. It cannot resist the image you insist on maintaining. Imagine a farmer who plants a seed and the next day digs up the soil to check if it has sprouted. If he does this every day, he will never see the harvest. The secret lies in planting, watering, and waiting with patience. It is the same with the inner state. If you abandon it every time you look outside, you will never harvest anything. But if you remain firm, even without proof, time will take care of manifesting the invisible. That is why courage is necessary. No strength is needed to begin, anyone can imagine for a few minutes. But courage is needed to keep believing when appearances try to steal your faith. Courage is needed to smile when seeing a negative balance and still declare within yourself, I am abundance. Courage is needed to look at difficulty and say, this is merely an old reflection, and I have already assumed the new. This courage is what separates those who speak of the law from those who truly live it. Those who persist discover that reality is malleable, that sooner or later it yields to the pressure of the assumed state. It is like a river that insists on flowing. It can be dammed, it can be slowed, but it can never be stopped. The state you sustain eventually overflows, and the world unable to resist is forced to obey. Therefore, if you wish to see money appear as if from nowhere, don't just start. Persist. Hold firm to the identity of one who already possesses, even if no one believes, even if nothing confirms it, even if everything seems contrary, because the law does not fail, and the world has no choice but to reflect what you insist on being. Persistence is the key that transforms possibility into certainty, and certainty into visible fact. Now that you have heard, you can no longer pretend you don't know. The external world is not the master of your life, it is merely the servant. It obeys the state you silently sustain, and nothing can resist that. You have spent too much time begging for signs, waiting for miracles from outside, believing that change would come by chance or by someone's kindness. But today you understand. The miracle isn't out there, the miracle is you. Assume now firmly the state of one who already possesses. Don't wait for proof. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for the reflection to smile first. You smile. Declare in silence, I am wealth. I am abundance. I am supplied. Sustain this internally like someone holding a flame that nothing can extinguish. 2 minutes of true conviction can open doors that once seemed locked, can dissolve debts, can attract opportunities you never imagined. Ask no more, plead no more, lament no more. Command in silence and certainty, like one who knows they own their own inheritance. The world does not resist one who has discovered their identity. And when you stop chasing, when you stop begging, when you dare to assume, then you will see. Money will appear as if from nowhere. But you will know it wasn't from nowhere. It was from your inner decision. It was from the law obeying the image you sustained. Therefore go and apply it now. Not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, now, because everything already is, and it is within you. The rest, inevitably, will bow. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. The world outside continues to spin, but none of it has power over you. True movement happens within, where time and space obey your consciousness. Every time you try to change what you see, you fail. But when you change what you feel, the universe bends. The secret the average person ignores is that nothing comes from outside. Everything is a reflection of the inner state you silently inhabit. And that's why so many struggle in vain. They try to push the reflection without changing the face. Silence the world's noise and listen. There is a power within you that has never slept. It doesn't need to be invoked, only remembered. They called it God, spirit, energy. But I tell you, it is your own consciousness. And this consciousness creates everything you experience, not by whim, but by law. The Batnei, law of assumption, is the sovereign principle that governs existence. What you assume to be true becomes visible, palpable, and inevitable. Nothing escapes it. You are the author of your story, even when you pretend to be just a character. Most people live reacting to circumstances like leaves carried by the wind. When something goes wrong, they blame fate, chance, others. But the awakened understand. Destiny is not something that happens to you. It is something you assume. The person who believes they are a victim attracts proof of injustice. The one who believes they are free attracts open paths. Everything begins in the invisible and ends in the visible, not the other way around. Today I will give you a key, and if you use it correctly, it will open the door between the invisible and the tangible. It is not a request nor a prayer. It is a creative command. For 48 seconds you will become the very center of creation. During this short time there is no yesterday or tomorrow, there is only the absolute now. And whatever is felt in that now, the world will hasten to manifest. The mantra is simple, but it is sacred. I am what I desire to be. These words are the declaration of being. They are a reminder that you and the Creator are one. When you say I am, you are affirming the origin of all power. Therefore pronounce them with reverence, but also with authority. Do not say them like someone waiting, but like someone commanding. For 48 seconds, immerse yourself in them as one who dissolves into what they affirm. You are not asking to be. You are recognizing that you already are. You are not trying to create. You are remembering that everything has already been created. This is the point where the mind silences and the spirit takes command. If you do this with purity, without distraction and without doubt, the physical world, which is slow but faithful, will begin to reorganize around your new identity. Use the mantra when silence is total, when the heart is calm and the mind is empty. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and for 48 seconds repeat within yourself with full certainty, I am what I desire to be. Do not expect to feel something magical. The miracle is not a sensation, it is an inner shift. And when it happens, the entire world changes its role like a stage obeying the main actor's new script. Keep the mantra, live it, and never reveal to anyone the experience it has given you, for true power is silent and secrecy is the seal of creation. Remember, nothing outside of you has authority, no destiny is written. Everything already is, and it is within. When you say I am, you are not uttering a phrase, you are moving the universe. These two words are the Creator's hidden name, the spark that sustains all that exists. Each time you utter them, you give form to a state of consciousness, and that state is the mold of your world. Therefore, the first principle is total absorption. Nothing should exist beyond what you affirm to be. The mistake of most is to repeat words with their lips, while their heart remains trapped in doubt. They say, I am prosperous, but they feel fear. They say, I am loved, but they see themselves alone. Creation does not respond to sound, but to vibration. You do not need to convince the world, you need to convince yourself. When you say, I am what I desire to be, do so as one occupying an inner throne. Do not say it like someone dreaming, but like someone recalling a forgotten truth. The awakened person does not ask permission to be. they assume it. Close your eyes and see yourself already in the desired state. Not as a distant future, but as an absolute present. If you want wealth, feel the tranquility of one who already possesses it. If you want healing, feel the vigor in your body now. If you want love, feel the peace of being reciprocated. The secret is not in imagining that one day it will be, but in feeling that it already is. In the beginning, your mind will try to sabotage you. It will say you are pretending, that it is impossible, that there are no signs. Ignore it. The mind is the servant, not the master. Continue affirming calmly and deeply, I am. Sustain this feeling until something within you shifts, until the desire no longer seems distant. That instant, brief, silent, almost imperceptible, is the moment of conception. When the feeling changes, destiny changes. You do not need to shout or force it. The power of creation lies in gentleness. The I am is a constant flame, not thunder. The visible world will react not immediately, but inevitably. Everything around you will begin to align, sometimes discreetly, other times with irresistible force. People, events, and opportunities will be attracted by the vibration of the state you have assumed. This is how reality bends. Total absorption is becoming one with the desire, without waiting, without trying, without asking. It is abandoning the old self and putting on the new like a second skin. Do not say I want, for wanting declares absence. Say I am, and the world will recognize you as such. Remember, it is not a mental exercise, but an act of inner faith, a fusion between consciousness and feeling. When you absorb yourself completely, time loses meaning and creation is fulfilled. What seemed impossible begins to take shape. Everything sustained in I am becomes inevitable, for the universe has no choice. It merely mirrors the state you dared to assume. For 48 seconds, the world must cease. It is the instant when you suspend all your beliefs, doubts, and obligations and return to the point of origin, silence. The second key is to understand that external reality has no power until you give it attention. Everything you see is merely the echo of what was previously assumed. If you dwell on this echo, you remain trapped in the past. Therefore, when you apply the mantra, suspend the world. Close your eyes and forget the body. Do not think about time nor about results. Time exists only for those who doubt. In the realm of I am, everything is now. During these 48 seconds, your task is simple yet absolute. To feel yourself already at the end. Do not visualize yourself asking, nor walking towards what you want. See yourself there. Act internally as one who has arrived. If you desire healing, feel the lightness and vitality flowing through you. If you desire prosperity, perceive the tranquility only those who possess it feel. If you desire love, feel the warmth of the embrace and the security of being cherished. This experience is not idle imagination, it is creation in action. The visible world obeys the invisible. The body, objects, events, all of these are shadows of a prior assumption. When you change the assumption, the scenery begins to rearrange itself. That is why I say, do not try to change things from the outside. It is useless to push the mirror. Transform yourself within, and the reflection will change by itself. As long as your attention is on appearances, you will be serving the old state. But when you withdraw it from the visible and fix it on the invisible, creation begins anew. It is normal that in the first moments your mind will want to interfere. It will say that nothing is happening. Smile and remain. Power is not in haste, but in persistence. With each breath, sink deeper into the feeling of, it already is. The body begins to relax, time seems to dissolve, and what remains is pure presence. At this point, the assumed state becomes real. The boundary between imagination and fact disappears. When you open your eyes, the world will seem the same, but it is not. You have changed levels, and the universe obedient is already in motion. The right people will begin to appear, coincidences will multiply, and everything that was improbable will become natural. You will not see the miracle happen, you will see the inevitable manifest. This suspension of the world is the true portal. It is the moment when you cease to be a reacting creature and become the conscious creator. For 48 seconds, assume the power and maintain silence. Creation begins exactly where the world ends. The third principle is to understand that power is not in repetition, but in conviction. The anxious person believes they need to say it 1,000 times to be heard, but the awakened creator knows that a single affirmation, felt with total certainty, is worth more than 1,000 repetitions without faith. The universe does not react to quantity, but to the quality of the assumed state. When you say, "I am what I desire to be," you are planting a seed in the soil of consciousness, and like every seed, it needs silence and trust to germinate. If you dig up the ground every day to check if the seed has grown, you kill it. The same happens with desire. The creative act needs rest. Faith is that rest. After saying the mantra with absolute truth, be silent. Do not think about how, when, or by whom it will happen. The mind wants to plan, control, predict, but the spirit merely commands and observes. The desire has already been created in the invisible, and now the invisible needs time to take form. The person who doubts interrupts the process. The one who trusts inevitably reaps. The secret is not to touch what has been delivered. The I am is a living, autonomous force that unfolds by itself. Do not make the mantra an amulet or a superstition. It is not a magic formula, but a reminder of your divine identity. When you repeat it out of fear, you are denying the very power you affirmed. Therefore, pronounce it once with full faith, and then live as one who already possesses it. If doubt returns, do not argue with it. Be silent. Doubt feeds the old state. Silence feeds the new. Understand, desire is not something you must achieve. It is a reality that already exists on a higher level of yourself. The mantra serves to align you with that version, not to create it out of nothing. When you feel that you already are, you connect with the reality line where this is a fact, and the visible world begins to reorganize around that vibration. Therefore, do not repeat out of desperation. Do not plead like one begging the universe. You are the universe in expression. The I am is the language of the absolute, and a single affirmation sustained with total faith is already enough to set in motion forces that the human mind does not comprehend. When you finish the mantra, do nothing more. Simply live the day with serenity and presence, like one who is already in possession of what they affirmed. This is the true prayer, the silent faith that creates effortlessly. One who understands this ceases to be a spiritual beggar and becomes the owner of their reality. When you finish the mantra, do not return to the old state. The fourth principle is coherence, the art of living as one who has already received. Many say, "I am prosperous," but continue walking in fear, speaking of scarcity and reacting like the poor. Creation unravels when you contradict what you affirmed. The universe does not read your words, it reads your posture. Every gesture, every thought, every emotion is a testament to the state you inhabit. If the I am has been truly assumed, your behavior changes effortlessly. There is a serenity that is born from within, a silent confidence that replaces all anxiety. After 48 seconds, do not leave the state as one ending a ritual. Remain in it while you wash your hands, speak with someone, or walk down the street. Coherence is the thread that keeps the creative vibration alive. You do not need to sustain intense emotion all the time, but you do need to sustain calm conviction. Do not say, "It hasn't happened yet." That destroys the foundation. Say only, "It is coming to pass." This is the language of one who knows they have already been heard. The mind will try to measure results, compare, rush the process. But coherence is the proof of faith. When you act as one who already has, even without seeing, you prove to the universe that you have understood the law. And the universe responds with surprising speed, because doubt is resistance and certainty is permission. Coherence is the vibrational field where the impossible becomes inevitable. Each time you complain, you deny the assumed state. Each time you give thanks, you confirm the decree. That is why the awakened person speaks little. They understand that every word is a seed, and only one who plants with awareness harvests with precision. Walk as one carrying a sacred secret. The world may not notice, but something in you has changed. Your presence begins to emit a new frequency, and events adjust to it. People who once ignored you approach, doors that seemed closed open, improbable paths align. Not because something external changed, but because your inner state now commands the scenery. Coherence is the true testament to faith. The person who assumes a state and lives in accordance with it is already master of their reality, even if nothing has yet appeared. Remember, the universe is slow but faithful. Continue to act, speak, and feel as one who has already received. This is the language of creators, silent, constant, unshakable. When you remain coherent, the miracle ceases to be an exception and becomes routine. The fifth principle is silent gratitude. Not the gratitude that pleads, but the one that confirms. When you finish the mantra, you should not give thanks like one expecting something to come, but like one recognizing that you have already received. This is the difference between the average person and the awakened creator. The first gives thanks for what they desire, the second for what they are. True gratitude is not born of desire, but of certainty. It does not ask, it seals. When you silently say, "It is done," that phrase becomes the energetic signature that concludes the creative act. The universe understands that the work is complete and begins to manifest it in time. Silent gratitude is the rest of faith. It is the moment when you stop struggling with life and begin to observe it bending to your consciousness. There is no anxiety nor expectation, only the calm of one who knows that the process has already begun. This silence is not empty, it is the sound of power in motion. It carries a force that words cannot contain, because creation is not realized in the noise of searching, but in the silence of conviction. After saying, "It is done," avoid speaking of the matter. Secrecy keeps the field pure. Each time you explain, justify, or look for signs, you interrupt the flow. The invisible needs seclusion to act. Just as a seed germinates best in the darkness of the earth, your creation needs the shelter of your silence. The curious mind wants to see results. The confident spirit merely observes. When you do not speak about what you desire, the energy concentrates, gains density, and descends into matter. Silent gratitude is also your way of honoring the law. By remaining in peace, you demonstrate that you completely trust your assumption. The universe is not in a hurry to serve one who is already certain of victory. It merely confirms what has been declared. And the more grateful you are in the present, the more quickly the present reorganizes to reflect that vibration. Do not confuse gratitude with enthusiasm. You do not need to force joy. It is enough to feel the tranquility of one who recognizes, "I am what I desired to be." Allow this feeling to accompany you in your daily life. Look at the world, and instead of thinking about what is missing, perceive what is already in motion. Every detail that aligns is a response from your faith. From this point on, the work is done. The awakened person does not live asking. They live observing the inevitable. They walk with serenity, speak little, and trust much. Their certainty is their temple, and it is in this silent temple that the invisible becomes flesh, the dream becomes fact, and the I Am is revealed as the only truth. Now that you understand the power of I Am, be silent and observe. Nothing outside of you has more authority than the state you decide to inhabit. The person who knows this does not beg, does not wait, does not fear. They command in silence, and the universe obeys. For 48 seconds you become the center of the cosmos, the point where the invisible and the visible meet. And what you assumed with emotion and certainty begins to descend into the world of forms. Do not look for signs, for the sign is your own feeling. Do not ask when, for time is merely the interval between the decree and the reflection. If you have done it correctly, all that remains is to abide in the calm of one who already possesses. This calm is the seal. This peace is the testament. What you assumed cannot fail, because the law never fails. The universe does not reason, it merely reflects. From now on, abandon the old posture of one who begs for external changes. You are not a servant of the world. The world is a servant of your consciousness. Every sustained thought, every chosen emotion, Every affirmed word is a command given to the invisible, and the invisible fulfills it with perfection. Repeat the mantra with reverence and power. I am what I desire to be. Live it, feel it, become it. Keep your secret, for true strength does not shout, it radiates. Within 24 hours you will see movement beginning. Small signs, encounters, ideas, opportunities. Everything will move around the state you have assumed. And when this happens, do not be surprised. Just smile. You did not attract anything. You merely remembered who you are, the silent creator, the center of existence, the living echo of divine consciousness itself. Everything already is, and it is within.